Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
An 8-year-old boy full of wonder and a 6-year-old little girl jumping for joy. My kids are the reason I wake up each day and work so hard. They are my why. Jeremiah and Jacqueline. I have a feeling your why is very similar to mine. Your children, your grandchildren, they are the reason we all work so hard. The future of America depends on them, and I can't help but worry. What kind of country are we leaving for them? I'm grateful for the courageous leadership of our president. I've witnessed firsthand how President Trump is taking on the swamp and delivering for the American people. Our president is keeping his promises. I have fought alongside President Trump to put America first, standing up for our parents, securing our borders, supporting law enforcement, rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse that drives up inflation, and fighting to fix an education system too focused on woke ideology instead of teaching. A state as conservative as ours? We shouldn't have to wonder how our senator will vote when the pressure's on. Louisiana deserves conservative champions, leaders who will not flinch. This Senate seat belongs to you, the people of Louisiana, and I will never forget that. It also belongs to the children who will live tomorrow with the choices we make today. I'm Julia Letlow, and I'm running for the United States Senate because the future we leave to our children is always worth fighting for.
Folks, welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Tuesday, and today we're doing something about it, as I titled my book that just came out recently, and today it's in Louisiana's all-important U.S. Senate primary. Our guest is Congresswoman Julia Letlow. She's a fighter from rural Louisiana who's ready to take her proven record to the U.S. Senate. Julia grew up in Monroe, Louisiana, graduated from Ouachita Christian High School, and became a dedicated educator. She earned her degrees from the University of Louisiana at Monroe and went on to serve as an instructor and administrator at ULM and Tulane. She's always fighting for the opportunity through education. She married her husband, Luke Letlow, and hit the campaign trail with him as he ran for Congress in Louisiana's 5th District. They're both friends of mine, as was Congressman Ralph Abraham, his predecessor. And together, these two built a life of service. Tragically, Luke won the election but passed away from COVID complications just days before he was about to be sworn in. And in her grief, Julia Letlow did not quit. She stepped up and into the arena. She ran in the special election, won with 65% of the vote, and became Louisiana's first Republican woman ever elected to Congress, but more importantly, a non-career politician elected to Congress. And in Washington, she's delivered results. She authored the Parents' Bill of Rights to put moms and dads back in charge of their kids' education. She fought for the Farm Bill to protect our farmers and rural communities. She has returned critical funding to Louisiana's 5th District and earned a powerful seat on the House Appropriations Committee. And folks, that's hard to do for a freshman and junior congressman. Now, President Trump personally asked her to run for Senate and gave her his complete and total endorsement. And what sets Julia apart? What will be her priorities in the Senate, and how will she deliver real results for Louisiana families? All questions that we get to ask her today. She's a fighter. That's how she's going to do it. And Julia Letlow is fighting for Louisiana's needs. Julia, welcome to the Rob Maness Show. We're glad to have you with us.
It is so great to be with you, Colonel. Thank you so much for having me today. What an honor.
Well, this is big for our little show, and we appreciate it. So let me just start in with I went into a little bit of where and how you grew up, but what were the things that you learned that led you to make these decisions that you've been making in Congress and that you're making now in this run in the GOP first closed GOP primary in Louisiana for U.S. Senate, I might add. What did you learn growing up that has given you these tools to do so well? Because you're doing well.
Well, thank you so much for asking that very important question. I think your foundation is so much a part of who you become. And if you would have told me 6 years ago that I would be in the House of Representatives representing Louisiana, much less running for the United States Senate, I would have thought you had lost your mind. But looking back now, Colonel, I see the Lord's hand in every experience of my life, good or bad. And I won't take it all the way back to grade school, but in the 5th grade, I'll never forget the Lord putting this tugging in my heart and calling on my life that I was going to be an educator. And I remember going home and telling my parents about it, and they said, honey, we have no doubt that you will succeed in whatever you put your heart and mind to. And I'm so grateful that the Lord opened that path up for me, because my goodness, what an incredible experience it is to be up in front of a classroom and nurturing our next generation forward. And I'm pretty sure that my late husband, Luke, popped out of the womb knowing he was going to run for Congress one day. And I'm so grateful that the Lord opened up that path for him. And he worked so hard for, 20 plus years working with prior congressmen and governors, and then becoming the chief of staff for Congressman Ralph Abraham. And what an honor it has been to be by his side. Goodness, for 8 years that he was fulfilling all of those goals. But before I get into Luke and my story, I think my story really began whenever I tragically lost my brother Jeremy in a car accident when he was 17 years old. And my family, my goodness, we were so close, and we still are so close. I remember we would all pile into one tiny room in our house just so we could be next to each other. That's how much we enjoyed being around each other. Two of the strongest parents. I'm so incredibly blessed. They are my heroes. But when we lost Jeremy, it rocked our family to the core. And one thing I know about grief is that everybody does it differently. And so I wanted to dig into the literature and find what other siblings did in order to make it through the loss of a sibling, and I didn't really find much out there. There was a lot about the loss of a spouse or a parent or a child, but not a lot about siblings. And by this time, I was headed to graduate school, and I had these 2 amazing professors at the time who said, "Julia, why don't you write about it then?" And so I did, and that was twofold. It was cathartic for me, but also was able to contribute to a deficit in the literature. And that parlayed into a PhD program where I interviewed for my dissertation 5 different families who had lost a direct family member and asked them, how do you find meaning after loss? How do you continue to move forward with your life? And my goodness, how prophetic their words would be for me 20 years later, when I was again met with unimaginable loss with the loss of Luke. And we were on one of life's mountaintops, and I was so incredibly proud of him for running and winning this seat. And, one thing that I learned on the trail with him, because I'll be honest with you, Colonel, I wasn't always so sure about these politicians before I met Luke. I didn't know if their heart was in it for the right reasons. And Luke taught me that if you never forget that this is not your seat, it's the people's seat, and your heart is in the right place, meaning that you're here to serve them and that you represent them, and that guides every decision you make and every vote that you take. You really can do a good job in public service for the people who you represent. What an incredible gift to witness that in my late husband. And so again, we were on one of life's mountaintops. And as you know, I lost him 5 days before he was set to be sworn in. And, I couldn't believe that I was yet having to grieve such a monumental loss of a direct family member. But I felt this tugging from the Lord to go back and read the words that those families had imparted to me all those years ago in that dissertation. And you never imagined you'll go back and read a dissertation, but I'll never forget that moment, because there was fuel of just full of amazing nuggets of wisdom that they shared with me. But one thing really resonated, and that was, if you can wake up every day and find a way to get outside of yourself and serve other people, then that's where the healing can begin. And I'll never forget Dr. Abraham coming to me saying, Julia, I've been talking to a lot of the constituents in the 5th District. They saw you right alongside Luke. If there's any desire in your heart to continue to serve, I want you to go home and pray about it. I never in a million years thought those words would come out of his mouth. But I did. I went home, Colonel, and I prayed about it. And I had that support from my parents, from Luke's parents, and just that peace that surpasses all understanding. And the last 5 years, when I sometimes, a lot of times get emotional about it, it has given my life so much purpose and meaning and healing to wake up every day and serve the people of Louisiana. And I'm so grateful to them. And I share that wherever I go. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve. And the last thing I'll say about that is, I'm also grateful to them for letting me be an example to my children, that when life knocks you down, because it will you give up or will you get up and keep moving forward with faith and hope? And I hope one day, many, many years from now, when my time is almost done, hopefully, my children will look back and say, Mom, you made us proud. And that's all I could ask for. So it's a little bit of why I am where I am today.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned Doc Abraham. I'm a longtime fan of his. We worked together in the political arena, and consider him a friend. How has been? Now, you never expected to go from a congressional district, and I know the 5th District pretty well. Not as well that it's been changed a little bit, but I know it pretty well. It's a great rural district with some great towns like Monroe in it, and everything. So now you've gone to a statewide effort, and we got a couple minutes before the break. How does it feel to be in that size of a campaign? Anything surprise you or catch you off guard?
Yeah. So again, the honor of a lifetime to run. Whenever I got the call from it, the second time to run a second time, this time it wasn't from Congressman Ralph Abraham. It was from the big man himself, and by that I do not mean the Lord. Yeah. President Trump asking me to jump in this race. He took a good hard look at everybody who was in it. He knows he needs a fighter, someone who will work with him and not against him on the Senate side. And again, asked me to pray about it. And so here I am yet again, jumping in. Taking another leap of faith to a statewide race. But Colonel, I think what differentiates me a bit, as what you touched on at the beginning, that I'm not a career politician. And so while some people have worked their whole lives to get here, and I don't dishonor that, but this has never been a part of my path. And so I don't hold on to it so tightly like some of my colleagues tend to do. And was ready and willing to take another leap of faith, because again, I go back to, this is not my seat, it's the people's seat. And I'll tell you, the most, probably not surprising, but wonderful thing is just meeting people from all over the state. And whenever I talk to them about, gosh, just wanting to fight so hard for this country, for my children and for theirs, it really resonates. And we get to have conversations about our dreams and hopes and vision for our state and for our country. And that has been such a wonderful blessing to me to be able to witness.
Outstanding. Well, we got to take a break, Julia. When we come back, we'll see another little clip. It's not one of yours, but it is of you. You're talking about the Parrots' Bill of Rights, I believe. And I want to get into that discussion with you on why you did it from your policy perspective about an issue like that and some of the other issues that you care about. We'll be right back with Congresswoman and U.S. Senate candidate in Louisiana, Julia Letlow. You got to stay with us.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield 3 minutes to the distinguished gentlewoman from Louisiana, Dr. Letlow.
The distinguished woman from Louisiana is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to join my voice with millions of American parents as the House considers H.R. 5, the Parents' Bill of Rights Act. H.R. 5 is about one simple and fundamental principle. Parents should always have a seat at the table when it comes to their child's education. We believe that learning is a partnership between a family and their child's teachers. This bill is the vehicle by which we can put parents and educators together at the same table to have a productive dialogue. This bill is not complex or complicated, nor should it be partisan or polarizing. And contrary to what you may hear from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, it is not an attack on our hard-working teachers who will always be the heroes in my eyes. It is not an attempt to have Congress dictate their curriculum or determine the books in the library. Instead, this bill aims to bring more transparency and accountability to education, allowing parents to be informed, and when they have questions and concerns, to lawfully bring them to their local school boards. Over the past 2 years, we've seen too many instances where rather than opening their doors to welcome parents in as partners, some schools instead slammed them shut and said that government bureaucrats know what's best for our children. Parents across this country have overwhelmingly spoken out that they have had enough. They want a seat at the table because at the end of the day, these are our children, not the government's.
There are children, and welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Tuesday, and we are doing something about it, this time in Louisiana, and my guest today is U.S. Senate candidate, Congresswoman, and doctor, PhD-type doctor, Julia Letlow. And Julia, I have advocated for many, many years, having had an autistic son in the Louisiana public school system, but I've advocated that for parents' rights in the school system for many, many years. He's 21 now, so I really deeply appreciate you bringing this bill forward. But I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about what you saw happening in Louisiana classrooms that triggered you, not in a bad way, but triggered your effort to really push your throttle up and get this bill passed.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to talk about something I'm so passionate about. During COVID, if you remember, parents for the first time had the opportunity to sit down with their children and see what they were being taught on their tablets. Yeah. Many parents across this country were dismayed at what they saw that their children were being taught. It really didn't hit home in Louisiana. Part of the reason why I started the Parents' Bill of Rights on the federal level is because we have a Parents' Bill of Rights already in our state legislature that received bipartisan support. So a lot of the tenets of the bill I found were from the Louisiana bill itself. And I'm so grateful to Louisiana for taking charge on that. But you saw it in more left-leaning states like Virginia, what was happening there. Parents saw what their children were being taught. They were dismayed, and so they lawfully went to their school boards to voice their concerns. And you probably remember seeing the footage of them being rebuffed and turned away and saying your voices are not wanted nor needed here. Many were escorted out by police, but here's the kicker. Many parents were put on a domestic terrorist watch list by our own government, by Merrick Garland himself. That should never happen in this country. And so a group of concerned parents came to the Capitol. I'll never forget it. They were sharing their stories with me about not being notified when violent activity was happening on their campuses, not being notified if their child went up to a teacher and said, I want to go by different pronouns. And so it just it morphed into this. We have got to do something at the federal level about this, because the left had just taken education so far to the left. And so I was so proud to work with parents on this, that my goodness, in every state, if you want to see your child's curriculum, you should absolutely be able to view it. If you find something in there that you do not agree with, you should lawfully be able to go to your school board to advocate for change without being labeled a domestic terrorist. And my goodness, if your child ever decides that they want to have a sex change and they go to a teacher about it, that should not move forward without a parent being notified. I can't believe we're even having to have this conversation, but was so proud. It was one of the first 5 Republican bills once Republicans took back the House, and it passed through the House. Unfortunately, died in the Senate. I have no idea why. I was so proud that President Trump signed an executive order one of his first weeks back on the job, to make sure that parents no longer have to worry about this. But we need to codify this in the future so parents never have to worry again. So that's part of the reason why I want to go over to the Senate to get it done and signed over on President Trump's desk.
That was my next question, and here's a question that's linked to this issue, I'm glad you brought it up with the trans ideology. Some people group it all together as a woke ideology, which is really based in some Marxist theories and those kind of things referred to as critical theory, which is designed to divide families, which is what the adversaries of the Declaration of Independence and the United States of America under the Constitution would like to see happen, so that they can do away with that country as we know it. Are you planning on trying to take it out to other areas, like I'm a 30+ year military man, and I've been writing about and advocating to remove vestiges of DEI and woke and whatever else you want to call this group of really harmful ideologies from the Pentagon bureaucracy, from all the schools in professional military education, and then in other areas, and go back to a meritocracy and merit hiring. You get into Harvard by merit instead of by what you're raised or your gender selection or whatever that is. You have a plan to build on the school parental rights bill and really dive out into other areas and kind of take that challenge on as a senator?
Absolutely, and have spent the last 5 years in Congress doing just that. My opponents are attacking me as pro-DEI when I worked in higher education. And I have to tell you, DEI was presented to us 6 years ago as something completely different, as something that could encourage students and faculty to go work hard, achieve the American dream. I witnessed it, Colonel. I witnessed the left hijack it, turn it into indoctrination of our kids, turn it into, just like you said, Marxism. Once I witnessed that, I've spent the last 5 years fighting against it at every turn in Congress. And I would just encourage people to go look at my record on this. I am a concerned mama bear. And not only did I see it just completely take over our higher education institutions, I saw it trickling down into K through 12. That absolutely should not happen. And I've been fighting against it ever since. I was so proud to help sponsor the End Woke and Higher Education Act. Everything that I've done on Education and Workforce Committee has been in an effort to fight back against this. I just dropped a bill not too long ago about ending DEI programs, just as you said, in our military, in our federal programs. We have to strip it out to the core. This is something that I'm incredibly passionate about and will continue fighting. One other thing that I saw it morph into that absolutely blows my mind is allowing biological men to compete in women's sports. Now, I
Yeah.
was a collegiate athlete myself. I cannot imagine training the way that collegiate athletes do and having a medal stripped from me, biological man. And then not only that, having to worry about them in my dressing room, locker rooms, that is absolutely insanity. So what I believe started way back and was completely hijacked by the left and turned into something that was so far left, so far woke, that we had to absolutely do everything possible to fight against it. And I'll continue fighting against it in the Senate. And Colonel, this is not just a Republican issue.
Right.
President Trump ran on this. And won a lot of support from the other side over it, because it's just, as concerned moms and dads across this country, we all believe that men should not be in women's locker rooms. It's just absolutely wild to me to think how far the left took it.
You know, what's interesting to me is, I was a teenager in the 70s, and came in the Air Force, enlisted in 1978. I was still 17 though, so I saw through the 70s the what's called, I think most people refer to it as the feminist movement, and everything. And what surprises me, Julia, is the lack of women standing up and stepping out and opposing these types of efforts to put men in girls' locker rooms, for God's sake, and then have policies written and laws written that punish the girls if they say anything about it. I actually have a copy of a briefing slide from the United States Army when they were implementing trans ideology under the Biden administration, and the slide tells commanders to punish the women that are in the barracks if they complain that a man posing as a woman is in the barracks and in the showers and the bathrooms, to punish the actual women. And that's something that I'm glad to see turning around. But I sure wish people from all political persuasion step up and face the reality of that it's just wrong. I mean, at some point, you have to see the right and wrong of it, don't you?
Absolutely. Have moral clarity about it. And that's why these upcoming elections are so important, Colonel. We cannot go back to the way this country was running. And I'm passionate about that, making sure that Republicans hold on to the House and the Senate and the White House. It's imperative because we have to codify many of these things into law, or the left will hijack it again and take it back to a place that none of us recognized or thought was morally correct.
That's right. I wasn't going to ask you about this, but since the redistricting thing is on my mind here in Mississippi, where I'm speaking out, asking the governor to get the special session he's got asked for on the 20th of May to do a congressional redistricting to get rid of Benny Thompson. Talk about a communist, and he really is, folks. Go back and research him. Is it a good assumption that you are going to work with Governor Landry and the delegation in the state and the delegation in the House and Senate to redistrict Louisiana so that it's fair and there aren't any districts based on race?
Absolutely. Goodness, what an incredible day it was when the Supreme Court did the right thing and offered a ruling to make sure that districts can no longer be drawn based solely on race. So I don't want to play the victim card here, but I have never run in the same district twice, and I've run 3 times, because every time it was litigated and down to the wire to where we had to redraw, or a federal judge was going, a liberal federal judge was going to redraw for us. It's always been a nightmare, Colonel. And so I'm so grateful that the Supreme Court did the right thing to give us guidance on how to move forward, drawing these maps in a fair and just way. And so I'm so grateful. And I believe that our state legislature is taking up this cause today as we speak. So I'm so grateful for Governor Landry for calling on the state legislature to do the right thing and draw fair maps for Louisiana.
Absolutely right. Well, we got to take one more break. I got you for a little bit more time, and I want to dive into President Trump and his policies a little bit more, and what you're going to do as a U.S. Senator to drive those into codification and out of executive orders only, because that's the true way. And one of the reasons why I think you're great for this job. We'll be right back with Congresswoman Julia Letlow, the U.S. Senate candidate in the Republican primary in Louisiana.
What if millions around the world could access Bible teaching and worldview training for free right now without hitting a paywall? That's exactly what happens every day at worldviewtube.com because of the Worldview Weekend Foundation. We don't lock our live stream behind PayPal. We don't restrict our content to members only. Instead, the Worldview Weekend Foundation helps cover the cost of delivering free educational and ministry programming to people across the nation and around the world. And it's not just programming. My Sunday night church service, where I taught verse by verse through Revelation for 18 months, and now I am teaching through the book of Daniel, is made possible through the support of our church, Worldview Weekend Foundation. If you believe this kind of truth-centered biblical teaching must continue, donate today. Go now to worldviewfoundation.com. You'll also find our mailing address and phone number there if you'd rather give by phone or mail. That's worldviewfoundation.com. Thank you.
You're never handed President Trump's endorsement. You must earn it. Are you a Trump conservative with the courage of your convictions? Are you relentless at fighting for lower taxes? Will you protect parents' rights from the radical left? President Trump looked at all the candidates running for U.S. Senate and endorsed only one, Julia Letlow. Join him.
I'm Julia Letlow, and I approve this message.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Tuesday, and we're doing something about it in Louisiana. We've got the candidate right there, Julia Letlow, that's endorsed by President Donald J. Trump, as our guest today. I'm excited about this race because my old nemesis, Bill Cassidy, I tried to stop him from becoming a senator in the first place, but eventually he would show his cards, and he voted to convict President Trump in the second sham impeachment. And I'm glad to see that he will be sent packing, and Julia Letlow is going to be the one to do it. We've only got a few minutes left with you, Julia, but I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about President Trump's policies and your thoughts on some of those key ones that we haven't talked about yet that you want to drive forward in the Senate. Maybe the Save America Act. That's one I'm also advocating for. I can't understand why any American on either side of the aisle would not want to have to show ID to vote. We have to show ID for everything else, for goodness sake.
Right. Yes, I am so excited to work with the president on that number one initiative. You know, wherever I go, Colonel, across Louisiana, the SAVE Act is at top of mind for most of the voters here. It is common sense legislation that if you have to show your ID to get on a plane, if you have to show your ID to buy a beer, you should have to show your ID to vote in our most sacred of all things, and that is our elections. I cannot believe that we don't have that in every state. And so I want to work with President Trump. Safety is one of the top issues in the state. Wherever we poll, safety comes out as number one. And what we saw happen under President Biden's administration, I went down to the border, Colonel. I saw it firsthand. He was encouraging these families to make a treacherous journey across the border and across that river. I witnessed the Border Patrol have to pull lifeless children out of that river. It was heartbreaking. That is criminal in my eyes. And for him to not only encourage, but it was intentional to bring 15 million illegal aliens into our country. Yeah. In order to cheat in our elections, we have to codify this now. Now, I'm the only one in this race who has called on the Senate to nuke the filibuster to get this through. And so has President Trump. And I support that effort and will continue to support that in the Senate. This is the most consequential piece of legislation of my lifetime. And we need to get his policies across the finish line, because I promise you this, if we don't nuke the filibuster now, the minute minute Democrats can, they will. And so we have to get his policies across the finish line while we can. There's no excuse not to.
That's why one of the reasons why you also have my personal endorsement, because nuking the filibuster and passing the Save America Act, I think is key, especially come November. We need that arrow in our quiver to show all amongst all the other successes of the Trump administration. I do have to say, though, it sends a message to the people of Louisiana that are going out to vote, and that is that he didn't endorse the guy that says he was in his administration, that was a congressman before, that says he's the only conservative in the race, because President Trump sees something in you that is the right something, and he didn't see it in that gentleman. And I'm not even going to say his name and give him any more name recognition than that. And it's the president's decision. And I hope my 210,000 voters from 2014 listen to that and listen to me, and the majority of them go out and vote for you, Julia. Final thoughts before I let you go.
Thank you so much, Colonel, for your endorsement and your belief in me. I promise I won't let you down. And I promise this to Louisiana. I'll never let you down either. You'll never have to wonder how I will vote, because I will always consult with you first. I understand this is not my seat, it's yours, and I'm here to represent you. And that will be before every decision I make on your behalf and every vote that I take. And lastly, it has been the honor of a lifetime to serve the people of the 5th District in Louisiana. I'm eternally grateful to you all for giving me this opportunity, and I would love to continue working with you and all of Louisiana to go fight for our children, because the future of this country is depending on the decisions that we make right now. And if you want to join our cause and our campaign, it's really easy to go to julialetlow.com. We would love to have you. And again, just God bless all of you. Thank you so much. I would love to earn your support on May 16th. But above all else, if I could continue to earn your prayers, those mean the most.
Well, thank you very much, Julia. God bless you, and Godspeed on your effort there. I'm confident that it's going to come out the right way, because that's the way things ought to be. Thank you very much. And folks, tomorrow is Whistleblower Wednesday. I'll see you then. All right. Thank you very much.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage, and now, real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab. And here, you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Would you like to gain access? Do you appreciate all the free programming we produce here at Worldview Tube? Well, if you do, we need your partnership now. If you're already supporting us, thank you. If you're not, would you please consider doing so? We have to have a big November and December end of the year giving. Please go here right now to this website, worldviewfoundation.com. Worldviewfoundation.com. You can give through credit card. You can give through PayPal. You'll find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. You'll also find our phone number. Simply use that phone number by leaving a voicemail for Melissa or texting her, and my wife will get back with you and help you make your contribution over the phone. We send out tax receipts with our EIN number, well, the first week of February of each year. We, again, have to have a very big November.
There's really only one person in the world, and you've had him on the show, Dr. Mark Miller,